Born in the pines where the axes sing loud. Generations deep, we're a proud, tough crowd. Hands on the Bible, the timber, the steel. Faith in the Lord, the life that we feel. God, guns, and sawdust, it's in our veins. Through the sweat and the toil, through the joy and the pain. We stand on the roots of the trees we felled. Faith in the Maker, stories to tell.
Good evening, y'all. Tonight we've got a little bit different topic that we've been kind of hinting at and promising that we'd discuss. We're going to talk a little bit about farming tonight. Isn't that right, Russ?
I think the y'all might have gave it away.
Y'all.
But yeah, we're gonna do some talking about that and see what we can get into for trouble.
They're going to do some talking about that there.
After he's done picking
The only
on
kind
my,
of farming I do is tree farming, if you know what I mean.
we might talk farming after Russ is done picking on my cornbread.
Yeah, it happens. But I think first somebody needs to pray because we're gonna need it with this one, I think. So, Alan, why don't you lead us in prayer, brother?
Most dear, gracious, and heavenly Father, we come to you at this time, thanking you for yet another day we get to praise you, Father. We are so thankful for the resources that you give us. We're so thankful for the rain. We're so thankful for the many things that we have, Father, because of you. Father, we know that through you all things are possible, Father. We pray that you'll be with us. Help us to be a good shining light in our community and also to the people that follow our podcast, Father. Help us to be the example we're supposed to be. We give you all the praise, Father. We are so thankful for Jesus who died on the cross for the remission of our sins. Father, we are so thankful for your grace. We're so thankful for your forgiveness when we turn from the things that are wrong and always look to serve you. Father, again, thank you so much for the blessings. Forgive us of our sins as we repent from them. All these things we ask in your Son's name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Maestro, lead us away.
All right. So we get a lot of questions, about farming and stuff like that. And, it's farmers make up less, depending on what statistic you want to look at, somewhere between 1.5% and maybe at most 3% of the U.S. population. I'd say realistically, it's probably closer to 1.5%. But the average American is approximately 8 generations removed from the farm. That means that's 8 descendants between you and your closest relative that was engaged in agriculture. That's a long time. That's at least 160 years.
Yep.
It is. And one of the things that a lot of people don't know either is farmers per capita by job have the highest suicide rate of anyone in the United States.
Yep.
Really?
Oh, yeah. By a long shot.
I did not know that.
Yep. So when I do my men's mental health, a lot of times that's applying to the farmers too. And when you think about it, everything that they do is dependent on weather, markets, whether or not something's growing the way that it's supposed to be. It's all a roll of the dice. There's no guarantee with farming ever.
It sounds like logging.
Yeah, kind of.
Goes hand in hand, doesn't it?
Well, according to Ryan, when we talked about this, if timber prices are down, farm prices are up. So if you want to be rich, you're a logger and a farmer at the same time. So either way you go, you're always up, right?
Well, rich, yeah.
Rich.
You heard about the the Nebraska rancher that won the $200 million Powerball lottery. They asked him, says, now that you won all that money, what are you going to do with it? He grinned, smiled real big, leaned back in his chair, poked his Stetson hat up, and said, ranch till I'm broke. And sadly, we say that jokingly, but that's an unfortunate paradigm in this country. Fully 50% of I'm going to speak mostly about cattle in this instance because that's what I run. My wife and I run cattle, and we've raised hogs. I grew up on, when I was a kid, we had one of the biggest dairies in the state of Virginia. It had been the family since about 1700. And our family's been in Virginia since the early 1600s farming, and my wife's has been, her family's been in, I don't know, 1680s, something like that, I think is what we've traced it back to so far in Virginia, farming. But, you know, roughly 50% of the cattle operations in the United States never make a profit. And of the 50% that do, an average return on investment is around 2 to 3%.
Oh, an ROI.
Yeah, an ROI.
Oh, for the bean counters out there, they just heard that phrase and they got excited.
Exactly.
Yep.
So to put that in perspective, average business in the U.S. is average rate of return. ROI stands for return on investment. Normal small business and even large businesses in the 8 to 10% bracket. So 2 to 3% is abysmal.
Yeah, if you can get to double digits with your ROI, you're doing good, and you should be pretty excited about that. That's kind of goes in with any business, but when, again, with all the different number of factors that are put in, and I think government has had a really bad impact on farming. They've tried to help with what they call subsidies, but the subsidies, they're only supplementing to the point to keep the farm running. They're not helping to keep or to make the farms profitable.
Well, exactly. And a lot of the subsidies that they encourage a farmer to engage in activities that are not necessarily the most productive in the world. And this is going to step on a lot of toes and stir up probably a pretty good amount of heat because of that, because a lot of farms depend on subsidies. Mm-hmm. And there are programs that are good that are NRCS and stuff like that. They've got some pretty good programs.
Yeah, because you've been working with those guys on your farm.
Yeah, we've done some NRCS projects.
That's cool.
But most of the subsidy stuff comes in on crop farming and even to dairy farming to a degree is where you generally run into that stuff that I'm aware of.
Alan's got a question. He's not even asking it right now, but I could see by the look on his face. What's NRCS?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's a soil and national, I can't remember exactly to the word what it stands for, but it's National Soil and Water Conservation Service, basically. They do a lot of programs. They've got programs like Equip and stuff like that that'll help the farmer to fence out waterways and
look at Sean go.
Yep.
I'll tell you, we got the best tech guy around.
Yeah, Natural Resources Conservation Service. I think they used to call it.
And look what they've got right on the homepage. Cows.
Yep. Hey. Scottish Highlands. Little pet peeve. They're not Highlanders, they're Highlands.
They're not cows, they're coos.
Yeah. Coos.
And that was from what? The Queen of England called them coos when she was on vacation. It was a queen of somewhere.
Oh, I can't remember.
There's something about that. So she called them coos instead of cows, and it stuck.
Yep.
So,
but a lot of people, they want to know, how do they get into farming? How do you start? And there's an old adage, and I was talking about this in last week with somebody else. The old adage is you have to either marry into farming or be born into it. That's not necessarily true. It definitely, in some regards, makes it easier, but at the same time, I feel that can also be pretty crippling, because then you're locked into a paradigm of this is how daddy did it, this is how granddaddy did it, and by God, that's how I'm going to do it. Mm-hmm. And, we're still, as a whole in this country, I'm going to generalize a little bit, but we're still trying to run like it was the 1980s, 70s, or 80s. And the 80s, we saw farmers get slaughtered with the price collapse and market shifts and stuff like that. They had pretty good run in the 60s and 70s, and it ran land prices up in the 80s, and then the markets changed, and farmers were overextended. I had a guy ask me a couple weeks ago, Ryan, well, do you think that we'll see land prices? Right now, cattle prices are high. Well, the cattle's usually on a 10 or an 11-year cycle. If you look at a snapshot of the last 100 years, the cattle cycle is more predictable and reliable than the stock market. But what goes up must come down. But right now, there's a lot affecting that, which I don't really want to go into tonight. But if you've got all that market change and that market collapses, a lot of farmers have borrowed heavily during the high price periods. And when that shifts, during the 80s, the land prices readjusted and came back down. A lot of farmers had bought land like crazy and driven the price of land up. Well, since the early 2000s, the farmer is no longer competing against other farmers for land. You're now competing against real estate developers, urban dwellers that are trying to escape suburbia and urban environments. You're competing against big investment firms like BlackRock and so on and so forth, private equity money that's coming out and just buying up land. And
the PUC is a big thing up with us, putting in solar fields. They're taking
absolutely.
all the farms
You're seeing that.
and all the fields for solar fields.
We're not getting overrun with it in our area, but we've got the solar fields coming in, and it's absolutely, to be quite honest, it's ridiculous.
Where I'm at, man, there's no solar field signs everywhere, and they're pushing them out of our counties, local
Mr.
counties,
Clint
as fast as they can.
Mr. Clint just sent me a thing through text this weekend about in your county some proposed solar fields. It looks like they're getting ready to whack up a big farm into it.
Let's hope not.
The price of land used to be tied to its agricultural production capabilities. In other words, the farmer, to buy that 100 acres of land, had to look at it and go, okay, what is this land going to produce? How, in my case, how much grass can that grow to feed my cows? How many cows can I run on that 100 acres?
Right.
When you've got all the people moving in from the cities and the urban environments and private equity, they don't care about that. They're looking at, I just came from a 1/4 acre lot with a Cracker Jack house, just a small house. I'm not trying to be mean, but a tiny house on a little postage stamp lot. And they sold that for $750,000 or $1 million. And they come down into a rural area and they see a 100 or 200 acre farm for sale for $300,000 or $400,000. They go, oh God, that's cheap. And they buy it.
Yep.
Well, let's put that in perspective. Let's say that's all 100 acres of grass, which is almost never the case. And this could just as easily apply to corn ground, but we're going to talk cattle. So you'll hear a lot of people say that, oh, you can run 1 cow-calf pair per acre. Okay. That depends, and that's really highly variable depending on what part of the country you're in.
And it depends on the type of cattle you're running too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So 50 years ago, the cattle were a lot smaller. Your average brood cow was down around the 800-900 pound mark.
Yep.
And now they're well up over 12, and they're, in some parts of the country, they're crowding 1,500 pounds.
Wow.
And I think that that's part of what is driving some of the change in farming too. I think people are getting fed up with the way that farming was commercialized to begin with. When you look at what a cow is supposed to weigh, if you look back to an old heritage breed cow, 800 to 1,200 pounds. That's a heritage breed. That's a small frame cow. Most of your beef growers in the country right now, they don't want cows that small.
12 is large for a heritage breed. If you're looking at them like any of the British breeds,
the British breeds were always smaller because they had less space.
The Angus, the Devons, actually the first cattle to come to the colonies were red Devons, and those came over in it was 1623, I think. Don't hold me to that. 1620 or 1623, I think it was. I'd have to go back and actually look, but. My wife and I, we actually used to raise and breed Devons out of the Rhodokawa bloodline to New Zealand.
Wow.
I bought those from Gerald Fry, who's a friend of ours. Gerald unfortunately passed away in 2018, but amazing man, really humble man.
There they are right there.
Big boy.
Gerald was the world's leading grass-based cattle geneticist at the time. I had the privilege and honor of studying under him some, but either which way, you take that 100 acres of grass, you'll still hear people go, "Oh, I run 1 cow-calf pair per acre." Yeah, that almost never happens. If you do management-intensive grazing, you've got good grass genetics, like that bull sitting there pictured right there. That's a good short-legged bull. He's got good chest depth on him. He's got big gut capacity. His neck is wrinkled up like a dish rag. That bull right there will sit there and finish out on grass. That's a good bull. He's a little bit leggy for me, but he's not bad. Pretty good bull. But you can sit there and figure the state average is
Oh, you were right. It was 1623. Sean highlighted. I had to interrupt you. Look at that. Easy does it there.
Man.
Oh.
Well, you know, Southerners, we love our history. But,
yeah.
But
That's crazy.
You're looking at 2.7 acres per cow-calf pair in Virginia. Wow. So that 100 acres of grass won't support 100 cattle.
Nope.
It will barely support, realistically, 25 head.
That's
so
crazy.
And then the other thing you got to realize is the grass does not grow year-round.
No.
So then what happens when you have them on those pastures in the winter and you got to winter pasture them?
Well, the average, so in my part of Virginia, and really my part of the South pretty much, cow's not as bad as a horse, but they'll eat a lot. Their daily dry matter intake is 3% of their body weight for maintenance.
See, we didn't raise cattle.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of farming we did was the Belgian horses.
Yeah, y'all had the big Belgians for draft.
My grandpa had 42 to 52 head at one time.
Oh, that's a lot of horses.
He had a lot of horses.
Wow.
The cool part about it is with the men at the mill. So my grandpa would get it ready. You know what I mean? We'd have to. My grandpa and my Uncle Dewey, they go out and cut and bale. You know what I mean? Then he'd ask the guys from the mill, hey, we'll pay you $3 an hour if you boys come down here and help us throw hay in the barn. The most they did from 4:30 to dark, which is around 9:30, was 2,000 bales in the barn.
That's moving.
That's getting it. So
hay is a rite of passage for any country boy.
Man,
if you were raised in the country, at some point in time or another, you had hay chaff from your belly button clear to your nose, and you sneezed out seeds and black boogers for a week after. And then the next week, the farmer was calling again and saying, you boys ready? Because it's been 3 dry days. It's baled. We got to get it in the barn. Let's go.
Man, I tell you what, all these guys were ex-convicts, because most people that work in the sawmill, are from, rough backgrounds.
Yep.
The guys that showed up in shorts, dude, I'm telling you.
You don't wear shorts to hay.
That's the first thing. Hey, boy, you got shorts on. He goes, so? Yeah. We'll see how them pretty little legs look when we get done, boy.
That's a partial truth. If you watch, I got plenty of buddies that run their round baler with shorts.
Well, that's different. I was never so excited to see a round baler ever as when we started losing all our help and we were still trying to do square bales. And my buddy Todd, he's passed away now, but he bought the round baler, and I was like, yes.
Well, there is a disadvantage to a round baler.
There's more waste.
Speaking of round baler, I know we get into this a lot about logging, and before we go a little bit deeper in what you're talking about, Mr. Clinton and I was doing this logging job, and a guy happened to come over wanting us to look at the timber, a neighbor down the street. And I noticed that some of his arm was gone. And he got to telling us a story that he has a round baler and climbed up on the side of it. He didn't have it running real fast, but he had the belts moving, and he's greasing it. His shirt got caught, and it pulls him in, pulls him over the edge, smacks his head. It pulls his arm in the belt. Slowly, it's turning. When it does, it wraps it around like this, and it's spinning. Only it pulls his chest down because that shirt's wrapped in it, and it ended up ripping up here, then wrapping around his arm. Okay, so it's on his good arm. All right, so it's cutting the circulation off of this because it's pulling on it. All of this is happening. The belt's running over his stomach and chest, still moving, and he's trying to stop it, screaming at the top of his lungs. Fortunately, the lady next door, down the street, was canning, and they had to go out in the garage to get something. And they heard him screaming. And when they got there, they got it shut off. He ended up making it. They could not save his arm. They got to keep his elbow, which is really good. And he's got a lot of the feeling here. But he's going to try to go in for the arm and everything. But that really does make you think. And I know it makes him think. And it's been a year. And I know he's in our prayers. Because even after something tragic like that happens, they ended up having to take skin off the side of his leg, put it here on his chest because it rubbed him all the way raw, guys. I say this for awareness, and I know he's learned a lot from this. And he's done it like this for years. It's not his first time. It was just an accident, a freak accident. You know what I mean? And I wanted to share that here with you. I haven't told neither one of you anything, but this was just this last week before we came up to the show. And I wanted to bring awareness to the farmers. We have so much respect for the farmers on this.
Yeah.
Farming is in the top 10 most dangerous professions.
It is the second one, beside logging being the first one on land and farming being the second one.
Police don't even rate on that. I hate to say it, hate to point that out, but it's dangerous. A lot of stuff goes wrong quick.
Yes.
My great uncle, Walt, was that would have been almost 30 years ago. It'd been 28 years ago, I guess. He died in a farming accident. He went to jumpstart one of his tractors and had the other one pulled up in front of it. And somehow the brake kicked off, and Aunt Edna went out about lunchtime wondering why he hadn't come to the house when she rang the bell. You know, here in the South, a lot of the farms, we got a big bell out in the yard, and the ladies would come out and ring it when it was time to come for a meal, you know, and or if they needed something at the house. And she rang the bell, and he didn't come. She rang the bell, he didn't come. She went to look for him. She found him pinned between two tractors with one of them still idling, just like this.
Oh my goodness!
Killed him. But
every person's worst nightmare.
Oh yeah. So there's a lot that can go wrong on a farm, a lot of accidents, but you know, there's a lot of good that comes out of it. You know, you look at farm kids, the way they're raised, they usually, not always, but they usually have a better work ethic than other kids.
Amen.
Oh yeah.
And they have a lot broader skill level and confidence level because they've come out. Our kids, I was raised that way. Our kids have been raised that way. You work in the family business, you get out there and you work in all that nasty environment, and everybody seems to think it's real funny. People that don't come from a farming background think it's 72 degrees, big blue sky, puffy clouds, the birds are chirping. That's like 3 days a year.
Yeah.
Yikes.
I can tell you right now, hay season is the hottest days of the year when the sun is blazing, and if it's going to rain,
oh yeah, I'll do it right after you put about 40 acres of your best.
Oh, you're not going to sleep.
That the farmer that's running the tractor and wants that hay in the barn, if he knows it's going to rain, he's going to beat you like a mule until that hay is in that barn.
Oh
yeah, because when you so the reason why that's, for those of you that don't know, the reason why that's so critical is once that hay once it starts, if it rains on it right after you cut it, it's not a big deal. You can ted it back out, which is fluffing the hay up and scattering it out so it'll dry, exposing it to more sun. But if that hay is really started to dry good and it gets rain on it, it'll start to mold and deteriorate the quality of it.
Wrong pipe.
My hay was a little too dry.
It's either that or you got farmer's lung.
I don't know, something. I'm better now. Proceed.
But you only have one chance to put that crop up and to get it right. And, you know, that's another thing. I mean, as this develops, this is the first episode we're going to talk about farming. So we're only going to barely scratch the very tip of the surface tonight. There's so much to go into on that.
Yeah,
but
I know we think that logging is pretty difficult. Logging, we kind of do the same things every day and we go through it and there's lots of stuff in there. But when you look at farming and how many different types of farming there are.
Did you say the same thing?
Oh.
Every time? There's never anything in logging that is the same thing every time.
Generally
this sounds like a really good.
No, I will have to side with Russ on that one. By comparison, you've got different tracts of timber and each tree's different, but it is more repetitive than what you're doing
I understand that.
Yeah, because
Yes.
you got
I do
stuff
get that.
So
Okay.
he broke it down a little better. He explained
Yeah, he
it better.
did. Okay,
I like his
okay.
explanation
Yes,
better.
that's good.
We wouldn't want to upset the timber cutter over here.
Oh,
Because,
no, you're not going to do that.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right,
hey,
good.
real
We're good.
thick right here.
Okay.
Trust me.
You've got, I mean, with a logger has to be a jack
I'm
of all.
learning.
Okay.
I'm learning.
A logger has to be a jack of all trades too.
Yep.
I mean, at the end of the day, let's face it, guys, we're basically putting trees on the ground.
Yeah.
Which is very difficult and very dangerous. But, and we, even as poorly mechanically inclined as I am, we still have to be better than the average bear at turning wrenches and figuring out how to, jerry rig this stuff to get it back up and going and get through the day, whatever we got to do till we can properly fix it or so on and so forth.
Yep.
I'll tell you, I found out nobody can MacGyver something quite as well as a farmer can.
Baling twine and duct tape.
Oh,
baby.
yeah. That baling twine and duct tape didn't come from nowhere because, like Ryan said, when you got hay in the field and it's going to rain and you've got to get it done, there's no such thing as we're going to wait till tomorrow to go get parts.
Yeah, it doesn't happen.
No.
You want to see somebody that's normally very laid back, very chill, patient, go from zero to a-hole like that. You watch a farmer with a breakdown right in the middle of having hay down and trying to get it up. He's the most impatient person you've ever met. If you're the poor guy behind the parts counter and you're new at that job or you're not very good at it, you're going to get chewed.
He's going to help you get better at your job real quick.
Yeah, or find a new one.
Yep. Because 90% of the time,
there's a high turnover rate at parts counters at a dealership.
When that farmer goes in, if it's an old farmer and somebody with some experience, he knows the part number for what he needs. He probably even knows where it is in that storeroom if he's been to that tractor dealership plenty of times. And if you're not going to go find it for him, he'll go get it for you. But if he's got to go get it, he's going to make sure everybody else knows that he had to go get it too.
But, farmers, that's the thing. There's just so many different aspects of this. So if you try to farm with the conventional paradigm, the big thing that most people seem to want to get into is livestock or animal husbandry, if you will. And they tend to way overcapitalize it and jump in. Folks, if you want to get started in farming, my best suggestion to you, unless you've got a fortune to spend and burn learning, because it's a steep curve. And I'm not trying to discourage you. I'm trying to get you to think and to look at this and go about it in a way to be successful. Your best bet is to go find somebody that farms, that has the type of operation that you want to have.
Yep.
And go learn from them. Don't go if they offer to pay you, great, but their knowledge and value is worth something. If you'll go pay that money to a school or university, and keep in mind, I'm going to step on a lot of toes with this, and that's fine. But most of the people at the schools and universities, a huge portion of them in the animal science department, the ag department, have never made a living farming. Up until the 1950s in this country, if you wanted to teach at a 4-year land grant university in the Department of Agriculture, you had to have a minimum of a 50% ownership interest in the area of agriculture in which you wished to teach, and you had to open your financial books and records to the dean of that college once a year and show that your operation was financially in the black. Now you're taking advice from people that they went to school on a gen ed diploma and then decided, oh, I like farming, I'll get into that. And they've not actually had to derive a paycheck from it.
I kind of like that proving.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting to me.
Yeah.
That keeps the people that say they know what they're doing, but have no clue right out of the equation.
Sure does.
Man, if we could do that with some of the other social media platforms and stuff that we have right now,
wouldn't that be some?
It'd be crickets.
Well, it'd be crickets in a lot of areas of our lives. You know what an expert is.
There
it is.
They are.
You know what an expert is, don't you, Alan?
Oh, yeah.
Somebody that's 500 miles from home.
That's right.
Yep.
But find somebody that's got the type of operation that you'd like to have and go volunteer for them.
Yep.
Shadow them, help them, and
get your basic information and get started.
Right. So, because this isn't going to be cheap. But my best recommendation is go shadow them, follow them, Get out there and spend some time with them. And not when the weather's nice. You need to be out there as often as they will let you be out there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not joking. When I say that it's like 72 degrees and pretty weather, that's like 3 days of the year. I'm not far off on that.
Nope.
And the cows don't get out when the weather's nice normally. They usually pick the middle of the night when the weather's crappy.
Yep.
And they don't get sick when the weather's nice.
Nope.
So go out there like that, but don't get hung up. Don't start with a big piece. Start with something small, nurture it, let it grow, and grow into it. Don't try to bite off a big chunk.
Yeah. Now, one of the mistakes that I see with a lot of people when they do this, because I used to follow a lot of the farming groups and whatnot online, and because I've always wanted to farm myself. And I tried to learn a lot. And like I said, I grew up on a hog farm. It was primarily a hog farm. They raised Herefords for beef. But a lot of people will buy a breed of animal because it's what they like or what they think is pretty instead of what's suited for the area that they're in. And that causes a lot of problems, not only for the people trying to raise those animals, but for the animals themselves.
Yep.
And, you've really got to do your homework for what species and what breeds you want to bring into certain areas. There are places that you can't bring some of these breeds. They will not make it.
Right.
Even if they'll make it, they won't thrive, or it's just really not a good fit. I mean, so there's a big Highland cattle craze. Those are great cattle. Those are Boss Taurus cattle. Those are British breed cattle.
Yep.
Those cattle do not belong in an environment like the Deep South.
No, they can't take the heat. And the other thing is they're a foraging breed. They are not necessarily so much inclined to have that perfect pasture.
Well, and conversely, you take Brahmas. Those you've got two species of cattle. You've got Bos indicus and Bos taurus. Bos indicus are your African or Asiatic cattle, and Bos taurus are your European cattle. And
I think I heard that before, but I didn't remember. So I learned something again. I like that.
So you've got European cattle that can be British or continental. But if you want to break down the Bos taurus even further, you've got the continental breeds, and then you've got the British breeds. British breeds tend to be smaller framed, but I'm not going to get into all that tonight. But you take a Brahma. You send a Brahma to a feedlot in Nebraska in the wintertime, their hide's an average of 3 millimeters thick.
Yeah, they'll freeze to death.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
British breed or Bos taurus, they're 5 millimeters thick. So you need to understand what you're getting into and what you're picking.
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of old farmers say that you can starve a cow to death feeding them every day.
Absolutely. I mean, you see a lot of these farms, they'll put up broom straw, what we call poverty grass. And we call it poverty grass because it thrives on low fertility. Nature abhors bare soil, so God designed things. It's going to try to put that broom straw down there where there's poor fertility to prevent erosion and to start to get the soil cycling again and whatnot. We'll get into soil health and microbes at some point, but.
Man, this is like science class.
Oh, yeah.
We are learning stuff. I know this may not be the most exciting for everybody, but I like learning things. And I've always heard the old farmers, and my friend Todd, before he passed away, used to say the same thing. He said, hay quality will determine the quality of your animals. And he said, you can always tell somebody that doesn't know what they're doing because they'll buy anything for hay and never touch it.
Right.
Well, they'll feed a lot of broom straw. They'll bale that stuff. It thrives on poor fertility. You want to get rid of broom straw? This is very easy. Bring your soil fertility up.
Yep.
It'll get rid of it quickly.
That's cool.
Well, you'll hear people in my area, my part of the state, sit there and say, it beats feeding a snowball. Not really. That's not definitely really empty calories. They'll die with a full stomach.
Yeah, they can't even maintain their weight because the nutrition's not in that forage for them. Right. So if you're going to do something like that, now you have to look at supplementing with some other form of feed to make sure that they're getting the nutrition that they need to. So one of the ways that we looked at it and one of the ways that we used to figure it was we would do bale weights. So we would be running through the field, and depending on the types of grasses that we had in the mix, we were looking for bale weights. But most people don't know, there's a right time to harvest hay.
Mm-hmm.
And if you wait too long, the hay loses its nutritional value.
Yep.
So that's why you see farmers for that first cut crop, if they're doing 2 cuts, a lot of times in the Northeast where I am, we do an early cut and we do a late cut.
Yep.
If they can't get that first cut done in time, they're never going to get that second cut. So now they're going to lose half of their hay. So you've got a very short window to do that. And if you wait too long and those seed heads start to fall off that hay and they go too far,
well, by the time the seed heads come out, you've actually,
you've waited too long.
You've waited too long. You want to see it when it's depending on the species and variety of grass or legume you're cutting.
Let's talk about that. And when you're talking about, are you talking Timothy, clover,
Doesn't
alfalfa?
Matter. All of it.
All of it.
So alfalfa, you want to cut one about I'm not a big alfalfa guy, but if I'm not mistaken, when you cut alfalfa, you generally want to cut when you're about a third bloom. In other words, a third of that crop's blooming. After that, the quality starts to drop. But you take like the Timothy that you keep talking about. So Timothy, and I know exactly why you're familiar with Timothy because of the horses.
Horses, my grandpa, man.
Timothy
and clover was his favorite.
It's a fine-stemmed grass. It's a cool season grass. It's not native to the United States. It was brought here, but it's been here for so long now we consider it a native grass. But it's a cool season grass. I've got a lot of it on our farm. I'm in the fescue belt, so we have a lot of fescue. It's endophyte fescue like K31 and some other old breeds. But there's Timothy in there. There's our makeup and our pastures. Now our farm, the farm that we have now, we bought a few years ago. This is our main farm. It was in the same family since 1849.
That's awesome.
And 6 generations born and raised on that farm.
Wow.
And the gentleman we bought it from, he started having some health issues, got to the point where he was getting, too old to farm it and take care of it. And his kids didn't want to farm it. And but he wanted somebody young and local to farm it. So my wife and I got that opportunity. But
that's great.
He's young?
Well, we're middle-aged, but, for farmers, we're still, because
it's the same thing as a logger.
The average
they're
age,
aging out.
Yeah.
They're aging out. So to get somebody our age, any of us sitting in this
we're
room
in our
to
40s.
do it.
All of us are in our 40s.
That's
I'm the oldest one here, by the way, if you can't tell. This is still gray, or this is chrome until I turn 50, then it's gray. I'm not 50 yet.
So when he turns 50, y'all see that because Russ and I are going to throw him a birthday party with the box of dirt and some black balloons.
Oh,
that's
boy.
a big boom, baby. Yeah. I feel at home already.
Right, there you go.
But going back to, so our pasture makeup, our pastures hadn't seen lime or fertilizer from what I can gather talking to people in probably about 40 years.
Yeah.
But our makeup, we're steep elevation mountain farm, and we've got heavy clay base on the soils. We've got some sand, some silt loam and whatnot. But we are a mix of endophyte fescue, Timothy, orchard grass. There's some foxtail in there, some grease grass. Where we've changed the management style on there, I do have some native warm season grasses coming back in, like Dallagrass and Eastern Gamma and some big blue stem. I've got some of that popping back in.
I know I've seen your videos when you're out, mowing and stuff, and the views you've got are amazing. And you guys got to go check out Ryan's Facebook. He puts a lot of good content on there about farming and stuff.
And they can also see Miss Rachel over there. That's Ryan's little girl.
Oh,
and I'll
my
tell you
word,
right
what
now,
a riot.
If you're looking for commentary, she does commentary like no other. So I'm just
Chow
going to
chow
leave it
for the
at
cow.
Yeah, you gotta go
We
check
love
it
it.
out. It's a riot. But, that's part of the family farm. So I know
There
that
you
Ryan
go.
and his wife, they'll go ahead and they'll get the kids involved. I know Caden is involved. He's the one taking care of the farm while they're gone, but they bring Rachel along for all these adventures so that she can see and learn as they go.
There's Rachel there with him.
Yep, there you go.
There you
and
go.
that little mischievous grin is there all the time, just in case anybody's wondering. She's always thinking and up to something.
And there's Caden. Yep.
But so these different grasses have different stages of maturity. You want to cut them when they're in what's called the boot stage. B-O-O-T, boot. In other words, they're just starting to form a seed head. That's the ideal time. In real world, that very seldom happens because of weather.
Right.
And that's why one reason why they've invented the silage baler is so you can put that stuff up green. Now, it's not waving magic pixie dust on it. It's not going to take broom straw and go, huzzah, we have quality feed. No, that feed will never, ever, ever be any better quality than it was at the time that you cut it. But that's another big thing is a lot of people make the mistake of getting into hay. Now my wife and I used to do that. We used to put up a couple 100 acres of hay a year.
Don't do it, Alan. Don't do it.
I tell you what, I got allergies real bad. And even when I was young, my dad still made me go. I could not breathe. My mom was holding me at 2 o'clock in the morning going, breathe, son, breathe. Allergies were bad. But hey, whenever everybody was there, you were there too. So instead of going in the barn, my dad, man, he was really nice when it come to that. And my grandpa also said, hey, you can drive the truck. The worst job ever.
There was especially no AC when, back then.
That wasn't even the point. I don't care about the AC. It was the guys, you know what I mean? My cousin Big Ed. Turn left, slow down, speed up. What are you? Come on, boy. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. It was fun. But hey, that's how we learn, right? I would rather be out throwing, but man, I could not handle it.
And I think that's how a lot of farm kids start is by driving the truck or the tractor to steer the hay wagon around the field. You get somebody that can't reach the clutch, can't reach the pedals, but they can hold the steering wheel and kind of see up over the dash.
So at 12, I drove a Kenworth with a sleeper on it in the field. And you could not get me. Hey, boys, I drove a Kenworth. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Oh, man, dude, I thought that was it. All I did was drive around the field, but I still drove one.
And then every once in a while, you'll get the one little kid that's learning to drive, and you're telling them, left, and nothing's turning. And the end of the field is there, and the ditch is there, and then all of a sudden, never mind.
Right.
Go get the tractor.
Go get the tractor and the Typhoon winch.
Yep. But we don't own any haying equipment now. We've got a couple of tractors. We have 2 because we log.
Well, with the regenerative farming that you're doing, if you're rotationally grazing and trying to improve your land anyway, you don't want to be taking all the nutrition and value out of that land by turning it into hay all the time.
Well, we had, on this farm, there was about 40 acres of hay field. There's a lot more grassland than that on it, but most of it's too steep to hay. There's about 40 acres that they were putting up hay on. Anytime you're growing something in the soil, you are actively mining the soil for nutrients.
Yep.
So when you're cutting hay here and feeding it there, you're moving nutrients from here to there. Now, a cow will return approximately 80% of the nutrients that goes in this end will come out the back end and land back on the land.
Right.
So that's nutrient cycling, that's what I'm saying. There's so many different topics that we can go down with this.
God's amazing.
We can't cover it. It is. He is. We cannot cover this in one night.
No.
But if you look at it, the haying equipment's very, very expensive. It's very labor intensive. 9 out of 10 years, I can buy hay cheaper than I can make it.
Yep.
We buy our hay in now. I'd buy my hay. In December, I'll be making the order for next winter's hay.
Wow.
I forward contract it. I know what it's going to cost me. I know how much I'm going to get. I line it up. But in our area, the average farmer will feed approximately 6 4x5 round bales per cow per winter. Okay?
Now, let me ask you a question. Do you buy your hay from the same person every year?
Yes. I've got a couple of people I buy from.
And why is that?
Because I've got a couple of people that I generally buy 90% of my hay from one man. And I do that because Tony puts up really good quality. Mm-hmm. He's been very consistent. He's very good. If I call Tony,
I know where you're going.
He takes care of me. I take care of him.
That's exactly why I brought that up, because we used to have that same issue with my buddy Todd when he hayed. He had people that would buy from him every single year because they knew the quality of the grass that was coming out of the fields. They knew how he took care of his hay. They knew he would do it the right way, and that if it was ever cut early or late, he would let them know. and he would adjust the price accordingly. He was honest and he was truthful with the people that he was selling to. When you're trying to raise livestock and this is what's going to keep them alive and keep them growing, you need somebody that you can trust, not somebody that's 6 states away that says, yeah, I can ship you a tractor trailer load of hay, no problem. How much you want? And they send it and you get it and it's junk. They go, well, that's what we got for hay. You paid for it. Because I've seen it a lot.
Our hay, Tony's about really good guy. He and Lance, they're about 75, 80 miles from me. But my brother-in-law and I run a bunch of cattle together too. And up until this past year, I had access to his tractor trailer, so we could go get it and pull it back up tractor trailer quantities. This past year, he wound up selling the tractor, the road tractor and whatnot.
Now, have you switched to any of the super squares yet, or are you just round
they're
bales?
not in our areas.
Yep.
There's one around that I'm aware of.
We've got a few guys moving them into our area.
I like them.
So does everybody that makes them because they can fit more in the same space than they can with round bales.
I'm not willing to pay the premium for them.
Yep.
What they're getting for them in our area is way, way too high.
So that's a change. So everybody switched to round bales when we couldn't find kids to throw square bales anymore. And there's still some people that throw a lot of square bales, don't get me wrong.
Stackers.
But most of your hay producers now that are producing to resell, unless it's going to horses are a special and unique niche in the hay market. If you're feeding cattle, it's round bales or it's the super squares now. And most of the super squares that I see that have come in our area are coming out of the Midwest.
I see my dad, he buys the super squares. He used to right out of Colorado for his horses, not for cattle. You know what I mean?
They're way too expensive. They're
expensive, but
so I can buy 4x5s in this market right now, which those are going to be an average of 900 to 1,000 pounds. Tony packs them a little tighter.
I was gonna say that's good heavy bale. That's one to be proud of.
Sure.
He runs New Holland equipment, runs a New Holland 450 silage special baler, and it'll pack the crap out of them.
Yep.
But the thing with that is that's I can buy hay for around $50 a roll. I can't own the equipment for that.
Yeah, no.
Right.
I put up our last year because of the hurricane and then the bad drought. Hurricane tore down a bunch of our pasture, a bunch of our fences and whatnot, so we couldn't rotate like we wanted. In combination with, we've been redoing 28,000 feet of interior fence on this farm.
Wow.
Plus, oh God, I don't even know how many feet of perimeter fence. But I mean, that fence is older than I am. Doesn't know anybody.
5 miles
anything.
of fence.
That's a lot of fence.
Yep.
Jeez. 5 mile of fence.
Oh, yeah.
That reminds me.
I've got just the back fence line was over 1 mile.
One thing about horses and cattle, we both have to have fences.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm telling you what, my dad built their house, 18 acres. We had to build fence all the way around it.
Yep.
So it was, we would work all week real hard. Saturday we'd work hard around that house trying to get it done. And you know what we'd do Sunday afternoon, right after church?
Get back out there and start making fence.
Hey, as soon as we get home, after we get done eating, we're going to build fence. I'm like, dude, we got 4 hours before evening services. Why would you do that? Well, because we need to get it done.
Yep.
So as soon as we'd get back, I would, if we went and ate really good lunch or something, he'd sit in his recliner. And the only thing I would hope is fall asleep dead. Dude, he would fall asleep. And you're like, yeah, about 2 o'clock. It'll be 5 o'clock. We got to leave for evening services. He won't go do nothing after 2 o'clock. So if he just falls asleep, stay asleep till 2, we're good. You know what I mean? Man, about 1:30, poof, pops up. Hey, ready to go outside? Here we go. It was a really good thing that it happened. Man, you want to talk about learning how to build fence.
Yep.
That way when that tree goes the wrong way and it falls on a property line. And
now, you'll know this. What's the saying about a fence with a farmer?
Good fences make good neighbors.
Yep.
That's
and that
true.
is so true.
It is true.
That is so true.
It is.
But no, it's a lot that goes into it. So
I mean, we just spent almost an hour. We're still talking about grass.
Oh, we've only gotten started.
And we didn't talk a lot about grass either, because I'll tell you right now, if you find somebody that's really excited about hay and that does hay for a living and that's how they make their money, man, I never knew that people knew that much about how grass grows and why.
Hey, we need to make that one of our topics. I got some
now
pretty good
imagine
guys
somebody that makes their living grazing cattle on that grass. How excited they get.
Oh, I know. He's even more excited. He's out there looking at everything poking up after he's rotated to the next pasture. He's, oh, look what's coming in.
Oh, yeah. It's I'm looking to grow as much forage. I've got the ultimate solar farm. You want to talk about them ugly solar panels? I've got beautiful ones. What was it? I want to say, I'm probably going to misquote the author. I want to say it was Charles Walters. Don't hold me to that, but grass is God's benediction. Beautiful. Amazing plant.
It is.
Amazing plant.
And when you look out, I know you know because you have beef cattle, but you can look out at the pasture and you can see the cows grazing and you can tell if they're happy or not.
You can actually, there's actually what's called happy lines on the cows. You can tell a lot by a cow's health by its hair coat. I can look at them and I can see the different mineral deficiencies in them. Copper, if you see this is real easy to see on a black-hided cow, which I prefer red-hided cows, but that's another topic. If you see black cows out in the pasture and they look like a Duracell battery with that copper tinge to them, they've got a copper and selenium deficiency.
You know, you learn something new every day. And I had no clue.
I've learned quite a bit today. And, you know, like I said, I've done a fair amount of research into farming because it's something that I've always wanted to do myself. But it's the generational knowledge. I mean, with your family farming for as long as they have, whether you want to learn it or not, you have more knowledge probably than most people are ever going to get from reading a book, just from what's been passed down through the generations to you.
That's no kidding, man. I mean, I can tell you sitting over talking about how passionate you are about it.
This is the most excited I've seen him on our podcast.
I think
and we're
so,
only talking
man.
about grass.
I know.
I mean, this is the most he's talked in any one of our podcasts, and we knew that was going to be the case because this is his thing.
This is his thing.
He's over there and he's relaxed, he's calm, and he's just like, you can tell that stuff's been ingrained in him for a long time, and he's just letting it go.
Well, you know, these my family's preserved a lot of this old knowledge and these old ways, and if we don't share it, it's going to be lost.
Yep. There you go. You just hit it.
It's what we've been talking about with all the topics that we've had on this podcast.
Talent.
You can tell
wisdom.
You work a set of cows all the time, and you get intimately familiar with them. You can look at them. I can preg check them from the pickup truck. You can look at the hair coat on them, and you can see where they're at. You can see the glandular function. You can see, you can see so many different things. You can tell, looking at their hair coat, if you're dealing with dairy cattle, you can tell what their lactation cycle is going to look like. I can tell you I can't tell you a butterfat percentage, but you can look in there at them and you can tell that animal's going to be abnormally high or low in butterfat. That meat's going to be more tender. There's just so many different things you can tell.
You know, it's almost like some people come up to me and say, man, when you cut trees, dude, it just looks so easy, man. And I'm like, hey, what does you do for a living? I'm a farmer. You know what, man? It does what you do for the line of work, and you do it day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out. Guess what? You can do it while you're sleeping.
Experience.
When you focus, the goods, the bads, financially, not financially, by the day, what's going on, my help. Farmers are doing it by themselves or their kids.
Very hard to find help.
Very hard to find help. You know why? Because it's work. You know what I'm saying?
It's work, and the sad thing is the way it's been reduced to a basic commodity. You're paid for pounds. In a commodity system, you're paid for pounds, not quantity.
Right.
I'm sorry, you're paid for quantity, not quality.
Not quality.
They pay basic lip service to quality. I think the average, if you go poll the average American consumer right now, the general consensus will be that the quality of beef has gone down in the last 10 to 15 years, not up.
Right.
Now that will really step on some industry toes.
Definitely.
Yeah, and that's because of that decline in that beef. You've seen more and more smaller scale farms pop up trying to do a better job.
And it's not just the beef; it's the pork, it's the chicken.
Yep, and I noticed with a lot of the smaller places that are popping up, we're finding more and more heritage breed animals that are coming back.
Or is it the chicken? Or is it the egg people's been talking about for so long?
Or the fake meat, because they've the USDA, I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, but they legalized lab grown chicken.
Okay.
Boy,
That is yikes.
I'll pass.
No
Hey, I
thanks.
want to throw something else at you because we're getting close to being out of time. But in 1930, a bushel of number 2 field corn shelled field corn at a moisture content of 10% weighed 64 pounds. In 2010, 80 years later, a bushel of number 2 field corn at 10% moisture content weighed 56 pounds.
Genetic modification has nothing to do with that, Ryan. Contrary to what you've been told.
Well, there's multiple different things, and we can get into that in another topic.
Yeah.
But the nutritional densities are not there.
No.
Look at the health issues we have today.
Yeah. So my dad's father, he lived to be in his early 90s, and his whole philosophy was if you eat real food, you're going to be fine.
Yep.
And you never saw him stop at a fast food restaurant. You never saw him grab a slice of pizza at a gas station or anything like that. When he went home, my grandmother home cooked all his meals. He ate eggs and bacon every single day for breakfast on homemade white bread. And when he was in his 80s, he went to the doctor, and the doctor says, "Well, Ken, your cholesterol's a little high." And he looked at the doctor and grinned. He says, "You come see me when you're 89 and we'll discuss my diet."
Yep, 100%.
But he was never heavy. He was Allen size. He was 6'5". He was never a heavy man ever. And he ate like a horse right up until he was gone.
Dude, if I could nick her, I would right now.
Yeah.
Because I eat like a horse, too. I know exactly where he's coming from. I'm telling you.
But you don't eat like green bean.
No, nobody eats like green bean.
Right.
I mean, daggone that boy.
So, I mean, you can thank a doctor or a lawyer once in a while when they do something good for you. But if you think about it, at least 3 times a day, you can sit down and thank a farmer because somebody had to spend a sleepless night or a cold day or a wet, soggy breakdown out in a field or whatever so that you can have whatever it is that's sitting on your plate in front of you because somebody had to raise or grow and produce what's on that plate.
That's right. Ryan Willock, y'all. Really good guy. Virginia farmer. Thank you so much for the lesson on the grass tonight. That's how far we got.
We didn't get far.
What is it you always do say, Russ?
I say a little bit every day goes a long way, and it helps someone if you can. And I'm glad that America's farmers are helping us to stay fed. And hopefully we can get this farming thing under control and maybe get some young people interested in farming.
That's right.
So,
Thank you, farmers.
What do you always say? Because you're in farm country.
Hey.
Send it out.
Farmers. That is a big Indiana boom bag.
Got guns and sawdust echoes loud, carving out truth where the strong stand proud. We're done for now, but we'll be back again. Tune in next time where the stories never end.